Hi, my name is Peyton Burton, and this is my final project. Growing up, I never really had a good understanding of what morning sickness is. I was never set straight. I was never given the reason why morning sickness was a thing, so I just kind of developed a belief that morning sickness has no evolutionary reasoning and that it is purely just from a massive influx of hormones. There was no other reason than that, but in fact, through taking this course and challenging my beliefs, I found that morning sickness does have an evolutionary reasoning, or at least is theorized. Right? Pulling from the book in chapter 2, section 4, called Pregnancy, evolutionary psychologists theorized that before refrigeration, morning sickness prevented the mother from eating spoiled meat or toxic plants, which could be especially dangerous during the embryonic phase. And I think that is a big reason as to why women can have morning sicknesses when they are pregnant. Another reason is that morning sickness occurs usually within the first trimester, right? And that is when the fetus has little to no organs and they are still being developed. And usually when the organs are developed in the second trimester, the morning sickness starts to disappear. A little fun fact that I never knew, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to bring up, is that women who have morning sickness are more likely to carry their children to term. Emerging adulthood, pretty much just becoming an adult, right? I always thought that it required moving out, required independence from your family, from just people you grew up with, and just finding a way that is your own. I always thought that the relationship status between your parents and your siblings doesn't change. Also thought that to become an adult, you have to go to college, you have to join the workforce, you have to start doing something with your life, as my parents would say, or you have to have some sort of drive or motive to go towards. And going through this course and learning about just what it means to be an adult, and from chapter 10 PowerPoint, I learned that to be an adult, you don't really need independence, right? You don't need independence because you can still develop maturity through other ways, right? Now, your relationships with your parents tend to improve as you move out, contrary to what I believed, and that occurs in most places besides Italy and Portugal. College. Now, this is more of a personal one than one that I found through evidence, but I believe that college, or any just sort of phase, whether it be traveling, college, jobs, anything like that, there has to be a phase where a person discovers who they are as a person, and it really allows a person to find their beliefs, find what they like to do, hobbies, stuff like that, and it really lets them become a full-fledged adult and a better person. Disciplining children, right? That is kind of a touchy topic in today's climate, but growing up with a military father, he had a very different way of doing things. Not necessarily different, but a very authoritative style of disciplining us. So through that authoritative style that I developed while I was raised under, I believed that you need some sort of power assertion over the child, whether that be spanking or yelling or just something of that nature, to show the child that they don't have as much power as they think they do. And I also thought that disciplining children is very direct, that it is not necessarily easy, but they do one thing, you spank them. They do the other thing, you yell at them, stuff like that. But through this course, and actually through the discussion board 1 assignment, I learned that spanking doesn't work. And I'm pulling from Gershoff's Spanking and Child Development. We know enough now to stop hitting our children. The spanking is just ineffective, right? And it actually has some negative side effects. It can lead to mental health issues, adolescent delinquency, and criminal behavior later in life, which are all just not good things, right? And disciplining children is very complicated. See, if you use spanking, you're more of just stopping the short-term problem. You're stopping the child from hitting the kid or just doing something bad, and you're stopping right there. Now, since they don't have an understanding or a reason why it is wrong, they may continue to do it because they don't see any wrong with it when their morality, so they may just continue to do it, and you just continue to spank it or yell, anything like that. But if you give the child a reason why something is wrong, it can help them to develop a sense of morality and like, hey, this is wrong because of this, so I'm not going to do that because I don't want that done to me. A big one that I just really didn't believe, honestly, was that nice guys finish last. I always thought through the movies and all the happy endings that nice guys never finish last. I thought it was just a saying people said, just to make you a little tougher, stuff like that. But I always thought that people find the agreeableness in a person as a positive trait. But through my research and through an article called Nice Guys Finish Last, When and Why Agreeableness is Associated with Economic Hardship, I found that nice guys finish last, at least economically they do. Other people that the person works with can see the agreeableness as a sign of weakness in the person, and that less agreeable people are more have more strength and more authority to do to climb up the corporate ladder per se. And pulling from the article or the journal, high agreeableness is actually correlated to financial hardships because the person not able to move up the ladder at work and they're not able to get better paying jobs, stuff like that. Social classes are a little bit touchy, but I think that at least I was raised to think that social classes aren't really that big of a deal in my mind. That people are people, no matter if they're rich, no matter if they're poor. All my friends, I never had any care if they're rich or poor, right? I just liked them for who they were. And I kind of carried that belief into my adulthood almost. And I thought that romantic relationships, even just regular relationships, are common between classes. I thought that everyone had this sense that money doesn't matter and people would like who they like, right? And I also thought that with that same ideal that there's little to no discrimination between social classes. Just because someone's poor, just because someone's rich doesn't mean you have to change the way you are or change the way you think. But learning through the text and through external sources such as the Psychology of Social Class, How Socioeconomic Status Impacts Thoughts, Feelings, and Behaviors by Anthony Manstead, I found that social classes have a big role in how people act and discriminate and stuff like that. Prejudice actually hinders romantic relationships. And not saying that it's, not going to happen. It's very hard, and not necessarily just for romantic relationships either, just for regular platonic relationships like a friend or anything like that. It's hard for those to develop because of the prejudice between the classes. And pulling actually from figure 1 of the Psychology of Social Class, lower class tend to have more feelings of uncertainty, threat, and constraint in the way they live their life because they don't have the money, the power, and the status to really do what they want to with their life and change their life for the better. On the other hand, the upper class has the opposite. They have more feelings of freedom and control and choice in the way they live their life and how they're going to better themselves because they have the money, the status, and the power to do so. In conclusion, I found that taking this class and doing the research and stuff has really allowed for my beliefs to be tested and for me to form new beliefs that are very useful, that will be very useful later on in life. And I'm going to take this sense of open eyes and I would carry it with me throughout my jobs and my family relationships because I really think that is a very key role or key aspect in who I am as a person is the ability to change my beliefs to whatever is actually founded in concrete evidence. Thank you. I really appreciate you allowing me to take this class, and yeah.